Hello everyone, I am Yifan Song. In this video podcast, I am going to introduce three distinct environments: a desert region in Australia, a river system in northern Italy, and a deep ocean setting in the Bay of Bengal. For each location, I will focus on three main aspects. First, the geomorphological landscape and current geological setting. Then, I will discuss how surface processes such as erosion, transport, and deposition influence the sedimentary phases and structures, including types of rocks likely to form. Lastly, I will consider some impact of human activities or recent environmental changes, particularly over the past 2 decades. The pastoral and incorporated area is located in northern South Australia, close to Lake Eyre. This region is part of a classic arid desert climate, receiving less than 150 millimeters of rainfall per year. Because of the limited water input and high evaporation, the landscape is dominated by dry lake beds. Based on the regular lines running from south to north in the desert, it can be seen that the formation of longitudinal dunes is due to wind processes, and the direction of the dunes is determined by the direction of the wind. Lake Eyre itself is the largest inland salt lake in Australia, and it plays a key role in the sedimentary system here, collecting seasonal runoff and leaving behind evaporates. In the current landscape, we can observe a combination of wind and water-driven surface processes. There's a dry river network which indicates past fluvial activity, and now only carries water during rare flash flood events. Wind erosion is the dominant process here most of the time, creating and modifying dunes, and exposing bare rock surfaces. Occasionally, these flash floods carve temporary channels and build up alluvial fans at the foot of slopes. The ephemeral nature of these fluvial systems is typical in deserts. Looking at images from 2001 to 2020, the area shows noticeable changes. We can observe that the black-colored river channel is gradually increasing, indicating a decrease in rainfall each year. Based on the two graphs below, we can see that the lakes are expanding in size and have a greenish color, that this phenomenon is regularly replacing each year. These changes are related to seasonal river runoff, which can vary greatly with regional climate. In terms of sedimentary phases, this region is known for immature clastic rocks. Arcosic sandstone is typically reddish, contains lots of feldspar, and is poorly sorted with subangular grains. This tells us that the sediment was transported over a short distance, likely by flash floods, and didn't have time to become rounded or well sorted. The rock of breccia has the similar features as arcosic. Now, let's move on to the second site, Borgo Virgilio in Italy, a typical lowland river environment shaped by the meandering flow of the Mincio River. The location is situated within a town surrounded by a looping river network. From satellite images, we can observe the distinct pattern of meandering streams, floodplains, and point bars, all classic features of a low-gradient mature river system. Present-day surface processes are dominated by erosion along the outer banks, deposition on inner curves, and suspended load sediment transport. The height profile across the river shows gentle variation, consistent with the low-energy, high-capacity system. This environment favors the formation of well-defined sedimentary structures, like laminated silts and fine clays, particularly in the floodplain and channel margins. Looking at changes over the past 2 decades, satellite comparisons between 2004 and 2023 reveal increased urban expansion, agriculture, and tourism. These human activities have caused eutrophication, shoreline change, and vegetation loss, degrading the lake ecosystem and impacting sedimentation patterns. In terms of sedimentary phases and rock types, we found samples including siltstone, claystone, and conglomerates. The green shapes suggest low energy deposition and moderate transportation, with sub-rounded clasts pointing to midstream transport distance. These are typical of fluvial and lake-age deposits. Lastly, I'll briefly introduce the third location, the Bay of Bengal, which represents a typical deep ocean setting. The area contains the Bengal submarine fan, one of the largest submarine fan systems in the world. It lasts to abyssal depths, where sediments accumulate through two main processes: turbidity currents and hemipelagic sedimentation. Turbidity currents are fast-moving, dense underwater flows that carry sediment from the continental shelf down into the deep sea. These currents can form Boma sequences, which show a transition from coarse to fine grains, and they often result in graded bedding and parallel or cross-laminations. In contrast, hemipelagic sedimentation involves slow settling of suspended fine particles from the water column, forming deposits like mudstones and shelves. These rocks are typically dark, rich in fine clays or organic matter, and show very thin laminations. Overall, the Bay of Bengal is a classic example of a low-energy deep marine system shaped by high-energy events. In conclusion, for the three sites, desert, river, and the deep ocean gives us a unique perspective on how surface processes shape the Earth's sedimentary environment. This is all my video podcast. Thanks for listening.